downfield. Can they do it again? Yes, they can!
And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid! Timmy, yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Beef Up Front podcast here on Pick Swap Media. This is your host, Ryan Coyle, joined as always by Kevin Cannon for our weekly show, NFL Big 5 Games of the Week, the Week 16 edition. Can't believe we're already here, almost to the playoffs, but a special edition this week with Christmas falling on a Sunday this year. We have a full slate of games on Saturday. Actually, none of our games are on Sunday, as a lot of the games that I think the NFL thought would be a nice prime time scheduled Christmas Day game have resulted in some pretty poor teams, but we'll still get into some of them and discuss some of those games later in the show. But we have a full slate of games on Saturday as well as the Thursday Night Football game this week. Last week, I went 9-7-1, continuing my streak on the upset special with the Jags hitting with their comeback win over the Cowboys. And then my best bet hit as well with Bengals minus 3.5. So 2-0 last week on those. Kev, you went 7-9-1 last week, 0-2 with your best bet and upset special with the Eagles minus 9 not hitting and Ravens money line not hitting. So we're looking to get back to our winning ways in our 4-0 bounce back week this week for upset special as well as best bet. But as always, welcome back, Kev. Happy holidays, and how are we?
Good. We got a lot of good games on the slate this week, like you were saying, and a lot of playoff implications, so it should be fun.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch here. We've already had, I believe it is, 3 divisions clinch with the Vikings in the NFC North, the 49ers in the NFC West, and then the Chiefs in the AFC West. So still 5 divisions up for grabs. Eagles have the chance to clinch this week. The Titans and the Jags looks like it could come down to the wire. Then we still have the AFC North. Bengals, Ravens played the last week. That could come down to the wire. The Bills, I think, might have a chance to clinch this week with a victory. But so we still the wild card picture is still shaping up, and there's a lot of teams neck and neck. So first game of the week, like I said, we're on Thursday Night Football here with the 6-8 Jaguars at the 7-7 Jets. This is one of those matchups where I usually say, beginning of the season, looking at the schedule, I wouldn't have suspected this would be one of our big 5 games of the week. But here we are, 8:15 Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Game comes in as even, a pick 'em right now, over under 38.5. Jets need a win to stay alive in the wild card race. Jaguars win, Titans lose. I believe the Jaguars are then tied for first place in the AFC South. So huge game here at Thursday Night Football. What are your thoughts, Kev?
I got the Jags winning 20, Jets 17, so the Jags money line in the under of 38.5 hidden. This is the game out of the 5 we have this week that I struggle with the most. It's looking like it will be Zach Wilson again, so I'm counting on at least 1 turnover from him during the game. The Jags have won 3 of their last 4 and have, in all of those wins, have put up at least 28 points, so their offense is starting to click now. The Jets defense is legit, and hopefully Quinnen Williams will be able to go for them this week, but it is a short week, so we'll see tomorrow if he is out there. I think the Jags can run the ball, and Trevor Lawrence has shown the ability to pass it, so I think they'll be able to score a little bit more than the Jets offense. This game also has huge implications for playoffs, which many people, as you said earlier, would not have guessed at the start of the season. I really like Doug Peterson, trust that he'll have the Jags ready to go and ready to grab the AFC South.
Yeah, I'm excited to say I'll be at this game, actually. Excited to be there, but I don't know how long I'll actually be in the stadium part watching the game, as it looks like it's going to be a terrible weather day. 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout the day is expected. Large gust of wind, like 20 to 25 miles per hour. So I think we're going to be getting a real ugly game. And in a game like that, I'll side with the team that's at home and that has the better defense. So I'm going to go with the Jets here, 17-13. So with the spread being a pick 'em, our second straight week with the Jets being on the show as a pick 'em last week with the Lions, I'll take the Jets money line here and then under 38.5. Like I said, ugly looking game where it's going to be a lot of rain throughout the day. Temperature is going to be like in the high 40s, low 50s, it says, around kickoff. But still, I think this is just shaping up to be one of those ugly short week kind of games on Thursday Night Football. On a short week on the road, I usually tend to side with the team that's home with the better defense. But looking at the Thursday Night Football results from this year, the home teams are only, excluding Thanksgiving Day, which had the 3 games, so I kind of just took that out. Home teams are only 6-8 on Thursday Night Football this year, so it really isn't that big of a distinct advantage that I normally would peg it. But I just think the more physical team with a quarterback like Zach Wilson is going to force them to run the ball a lot more in this one and just bank on that really good young defense that they have. Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well out of his mind, but these are not ideal conditions for him to be going into. He's a guy who played at Clemson in the South. He's not really a cold weather quarterback, I guess you could say, not used to kind of playing down there. Travis Etienne isn't really that hard hitting kind of downhill running back like you would like to have in a game like this. So ugly weather, ugly short week type game. 2 teams that are kind of desperate here. I'm going to go with the team that's home and that has a better defense. But I really like how the Jaguars are playing, and I think that they might be the favorite heading into the AFC South in 2023. But I'll ride with the Jets here in this one at home, 17-13. So give me Jets on the pick 'em there, and then under 38.5. Second game of the week, we now go to Saturday. As I said, all these games will be on Saturday. None of our games crack the slate for Sunday this week or Monday night. First one is the 8-5-1 Giants at the 11-3 Vikings, coming off the biggest comeback in NFL history after they were down 33-0 last week. So 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. Vikings -3, over under 47.5.
I got the Vikings 23, Giants 17, so the Vikings covering those 3 points and the under of 47.5 hidden. The Vikings, like you said, are coming off their historic comeback against the Colts last week. The Giants were able to take down the Commanders in an important game for their playoff hopes. I will not pick the Giants here. They have proved a lot of people wrong this season, including me all season long. I think I've picked against them in most games. But like I said, I just don't think they're a very good team. I'm going to die on the hill that the Giants are not a very good team. The Vikings have found ways to win games, and their defense has been a concern, but I don't think the Giants have an offense that's dynamic enough to take advantage of that lackluster defense in Minnesota. The Vikings offense can put up yards and points with their weapons, and I think if the Vikings can keep Saquon in check, you have to like their chances here. The game's also indoors, so no weather is going to be playing a factor here, and I like the Vikings to add another win in their column.
Yeah, I like a lot of what you said, Kev. I'll side with you on a bunch of that. I got the Vikings winning as well, 24-20. So we'll go Vikings -3, under 47.5. Congrats to the Giants, as you were saying, Kev, last week on winning that game against Washington. That was, I'm not going to say a shocker, but certainly we both had Washington winning last week, and that's a nice road victory there for the Giants. But I still don't think they're a good football team, and like you, I'll die on that hill that they're not a good team. I think that loss kind of just said more about Washington and how they're fraudulent and might have just caught some lightning in a bottle for another year with Taylor Heineke, and that magic might have fizzled out, and that could kind of ride them out of the playoffs. I know the Vikings might not be your typical 11-3 team, like a real dynamic, dominant force, but due to that point differential, 2 crazy comebacks, including last week with the Colts and earlier in the year against the Bills, they're still a much more talented team than the Giants. And even with the division already in hands for the Vikings, they're still playing for a seeding, trying to get that number 2 seed. Giants' 2012 win last week over the Commanders is evident of that style that they want to play, where they want it to be an ugly, muddied up type game, where the Vikings are usually trying to play some of these higher scoring shootout games. They're averaging 25 points per game. That's top 10 in the league. But the Giants, despite their talent, have always been finding ways to hang around in these games, while the Vikings haven't really found ways to blow out these inferior teams. So it's a kind of a tough pick here, but I think it could be a potential false flat spot. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants go and win this game after last week's historic Vikings win, but the Vikings have played in crazy games all year, it seems like, and they usually tend to answer the bell. So I'll take them to win. I'll take them to cover. Not crazy about the cover, but I do like them to win this game at home, whether they're down big again early in the first half and they find a way to come back. They just seem to find ways to win football games. So I'll go 24-20 Vikings. So Vikings -3 and then under 47.5 there. Third game of the week, still staying on Saturday. Like I said, AFC battle. The 10-4 Bengals, arguably the hottest team in football, at the Patriots, who are 7-7. 1 o'clock kick on CBS. Bengals come in as 3.5-point favorites with the over/under set at 40.5.
The Bengals winning 24, Pats 17. The Bengals -3.5 and the over at 40.5 hidden. The Bengals second half defense is legit, and for whatever reason, they can stop any offense after halftime. The Bengals D is also not the easiest to run on, allowing the 8th fewest rushing yards a game in the league. The Pats are going to try and run the ball as much as possible because they can't really throw the ball. It's a combination of not having dynamic wide receivers. Mac Jones doesn't really always seem capable of pushing the ball down the field. And they also have 2 offensive coordinators who shouldn't be offensive coordinators. The Bengals offense is also the real deal. Burrow always seems locked in, and he has 2 great receivers to throw to. And then Joe Mixon in the backfield is a very solid option. That season, I think, spirals even further downhill here after their insane loss last week in Las Vegas.
I'm going to go against you in this one as well. I'm going to take the Patriots to win this one 20-17. So obviously we got the Pats plus 3.5 and under 40.5 there. You don't think that the Patriots can bounce back after that crazy loss in Vegas last week? I, on the other hand, think if any organization in the NFL can bounce back from that soul-crushing defeat that the Patriots endured last week, I think it is them. As I often kind of said, I tied this into some college football talk, but this year it happened twice with Alabama where they lost those 2 games to Tennessee and LSU at the end were easily winnable games. I don't imagine practice this week with Bill Belichick was much fun. And I think they're going to be kind of on a mission this week to right their wrong. Bengals might be the hottest team in the league right now. As I said, 6 straight victories, 8 out of 9. But I think they are in for a bit of a let-up as they face a Pats team who is in a desperate must-win game, especially pending if the Jets find a way to beat the Jags. They move to 8-7. The Patriots need to win this game to kind of keep pace with them as they have the double tiebreaker beating them both times. So if the Patriots can just finish neck and neck with them record-wise, and if it comes down to some tiebreakers, they'll get in. So this is a big game for the Pats here. The weather for this one is looking like it will be in the low 20s to the high teens with some winds. So I think that's going to fall into the Patriots' favor as the Bengals kind of want to spread you out and throw it all around the yard to their weapons. And then the Patriots want to run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson, their assortment of backs, and win with their defense. I think this is a desperation game for New England, though, at home. And it's also sort of a prove-it moment, I believe, for Mac Jones because I think he's starting to hear the noise. If he fails to make it in the playoffs, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out there on the market. Tom Brady even back out there on the market. And I wouldn't also rule it past Bill Belichick to go explore options in the draft as well. He has total control over the personnel on that team. If Mac Jones doesn't really show some improvement over these last few games and fails to get them in the playoffs, I think they could explore options this offseason. So I think it's a big game for him. And like I said, I think they're out to prove something this week after that catastrophic ending last week. I know you can't get rich betting against Joe Burrow in November and December. He's the most profitable quarterback against the spread, but you've also never been able to get rich over the past 20 years betting against Bill Belichick. So I'm going to take the Patriots in a close one here. I got a good feeling about this game. 4th game of the week, we go to the NFC now. We head out west to San Francisco, where the 7-6-1 Commanders travel to the 10-4 49ers. 4:05 on CBS. Niners come in as 7-point favorites, over under 39.5.
I got the Niners winning a close one, 23, Commanders 21. So the Commanders covering the spread there and the over at 39.5 hidden. I thought about taking the Commanders here, but I can't. The 49ers, I believe, are what the Commanders want to be. A great defense with a great running game and pretty much any quarterback plug-in to play at QB. The Commanders' offense struggled last week against the Giants. This week they get another test in the best defense in the league. The Niners are allowing a league best 15 points a game, which is kind of crazy. The Commanders also only average 18.9 a game. All the Niners need to do in this game is execute. If they are able to not turn the ball over, not have a boatload of penalties, and just convert first downs, the Commanders could be out of the game really fast. With that being said, I think the 49ers are going to be able to do that, so I like their chances. It's also now Brock Purdy's team entering the playoffs, and regardless of how far they go and how Jimmy G feels, I don't think it should be anyone else under center besides Brock Purdy at this point.
I like the 49ers to win too. I like them to win in a lower scoring game than you, but I do like the Commanders to cover. I'll take a 49ers victory here, 21-17. So Commanders +7, under 39.5. Due to that tie against the Giants, Washington's still sitting there in the 7th spot, but the Seahawks at 7-7, closely behind them, and the Lions at 7-7 as well. Maybe the hottest team outside the Bengals and the Eagles in the NFL. That is they're right there on their tail. And then even the Packers, 6-8, still not dead yet. if Commanders can find a way to go to San Fran and win here, that'd be huge, as the next 2 weeks they have 2 very winnable games against a Browns team that, since Deshaun Watson returned, doesn't look very special. And then they do have a chance to play in Week 18, a Cowboys team that most likely, if the Eagles don't beat them this week, or if the Eagles don't win that game against the Saints next week and clinch, the Cowboys, I think, will be resting their key players in that Week 18 game, as they'll be settled into the 5 seed. I just think Heineke's magic has fizzled out, and the lack of talent at the quarterback position always comes back to the norm, as we've seen in the past with guys like Nick Foles, where he had his moment, he had that playoff run. Jags go to bring him in as a starting quarterback, and he kind of fizzles out. I think that just lack of overall talent, usually you come back to earth with that. You can have some good games, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen with Brock Purdy and him to slip up in the playoffs. And we've seen from Heineke, he's had a few good runs, he has some good spurts, but then he returns to being the undrafted guy that he is. I just think that Washington has a chance to muddy this game up and make it close, kind of cause some pressure on Brock Purdy with that really good defensive front that they have. But the 49ers are still motivated and playing for seeding as well. They can't take a step back, even though they won the division. Purdy has played really well since entering the lineup, but I do think this elite Washington defensive front gives Purdy some issues this weekend, and he might kind of revert back to earth and show that he might not be as great as some people are making him out to be. I do think the Niners, though, at the end of the day, find a way to win with their assortment of playmakers and their great defense, but Washington will make it close. So, really like Washington to cover this week, +7, but we'll take the under 39.5 there, and 49ers to win outright. 5th and final game of the week. Going into last week, it was hyped up as maybe the biggest game of the year. I still think it has potential rating-wise to be the most-watched regular season game ever. I think right now it is Cowboys-Raiders from last year on Thanksgiving. I think this one could top it on Christmas Eve. I think this will be on every TV for most normal people throughout the country on Christmas Eve. We have the 13-1 Philadelphia Eagles at the 10-4 Dallas Cowboys, 425 on Fox. Due to Jalen Hurts' injury status, Cowboys sit as a 4.5-point favorite, over under 46.5. What are your thoughts on this game, Kev?
With the Eagles Cowboys here, we have all 4 NFC East teams in the big 5 games of the week, and also, as it currently sits, all 4 NFC East teams are in the playoffs. So I guess that's good for the just NFC East, best division in football, it looks like. The Eagles, I'm taking 30, Cowboys 27, so the Eagles covering that 4.5 points, and the over of 46.5 hidden. I think Minshew's going to be the starter. They should rest Jalen Hurts and take their chances of winning one of their final 3 games to clinch the home field and the bye, especially considering they have the Saints and Giants in the following weeks. Minshew has shown on multiple times that he is a more than competent NFL quarterback in Jacksonville and in Philly last year. Will also be playing with the best weapons he's ever had. The Cowboys are the Cowboys, in my opinion, and they always seem to screw things up somehow. Dak has always been able to put up good numbers, but he's also good for turnovers, and I think the Eagles' pass rush will be able to build off their dominant performance last week. I think the Eagles come out and stomp Dallas and show that they're the clear-cut top dog in the NFC. They can also lock up their first-round bye here, and we'll be able to rest some key starters for nearly a month, so that's a big incentive for them going into the game, and it's also a nationally televised game against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. I think the Eagles go into Dallas with a backup QB and win a close game late.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's, biased opinions with us both being Eagles fans. I'm sure if any Cowboys fans listening to this, they'll say we're crazy, but I like the Eagles to win as well. 24-20, Eagles +4.5, under 46.5. Whether Hurts plays, Minshew plays, that's the main question of the week. I don't think Hurts is going to play just like you, but I don't think it matters. I think Gardner Minshew is good enough with the talent around him, especially the offensive line up front, to step in and just control the game and let the Eagles defense do a lot of the work. I do think, like you were saying, Kev, it's important to protect Jalen with, the victory last week was huge. I was throughout that game last week, I was worried that, and even going into the week last week, we talked about, I was a little bit worried about a bit of a drop off there with this big game looming. But the Eagles, even though it was a pretty close game throughout, they still found a way to go on the road and win the NFL. That's never easy to do. And Dallas went and blew a big time lead at Jacksonville. So all you need now is one of these 3 games down the stretch. And I think it is much more important to protect Jalen with a bigger picture in mind. I was worried a few weeks ago, speaking from an Eagles perspective, about the Dallas defense. But they've been struggling recently. Cowboys gave up 23 to Houston, 40 to Jacksonville over the last 2 weeks. And then you look at the offense, Dak's throwing picks left and right. And that was kind of his MO, I think, earlier in his career where he just really found ways to take care of the football. Gardner, on the other hand, if he does get the start, he has something to play for. Potentially a few good starts. I'm not sure his contract status, but even if he does have like 1 year left, I think if he has a few good starts here, just say he does finish out these last 3 regular season games and Jalen takes back over in the playoffs, if he has 3 good performances, you could flip him for like a mid-round draft pick next offseason. So he has something to play for. He's a guy who's motivated, not just, I think, content being like a Chase Daniel and a lifelong backup. I think he wants another chance to be a starter somewhere else next offseason. And then also to bring in, he played for Mike Leach in college. It's a sad situation with his former head coach dying, but I think that's another chip on his shoulder where he wants to go out there, perform well for his coach who gave him a chance at the college level and eventually got him that job or helped him get that job in Jacksonville. I am expecting Dallas in this one, though, like we were saying, maybe the most watched NFL game in history in the regular season. I'm expecting them to come out hot, especially at home with a lot to prove. They still have a chance to win the division. If they find a way to win out and the Eagles lose out, it can be their division. I am looking at them to come out and take an early lead in this one, but I do think the Eagles find a way to kind of right the ship. They're going to run the football a ton this week, I think, with the Dallas run defense being the weak point of that unit. And I think the Eagles are going to ruin the Christmas of Cowboys fans everywhere. Just a little side note, if I'm Nick Sirianni and the Eagles win the toss, I'm going to elect to receive and hopefully just have like a long, like 6-7 minute drive, run the football all the way down the field. Not allow the Cowboys to take the field, potentially get a few big plays and really just light that stadium on fire, get all the momentum going. If I'm the Eagles, I kind of want to set the tone in this one, especially with my starting quarterback potentially out. But with or without Jalen, I'm going to take the Birds here like you, 24-20. But I do like the under in this one as you have the over. All right, now into the best bet and upset special part of this show. I'll go first here. I was between 2 bets for the best bet when I was looking through them today. So I decided I liked them really. I really like both of them. I'm going to parlay them together. I haven't done that at all this year. We're going to go under 36.5 in the Broncos-Rams. That game's on Sunday on Christmas. That was the prime time, like 4:30 game where everyone thought from Fox that everyone on Christmas would be eating dinner and huddled around the TV watching this game. You look at both these teams now, both eliminated from playoff contention, both going to have top 5 picks, maybe definitely top 10. But both these teams have just been catastrophic failures, given injuries, Russell Wilson sucking, a mixture of both. Don't like either of these teams to produce on Christmas Day. So really like the under in this one. Broncos unders have been money a lot this year. And then I'm going to parlay that with the Steelers money line with the tragic news of Franco Harris passing away and it being the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception and also his number getting retired this week. I just think the Steelers throughout that entire organization are going to be playing really motivated for him. And it is a bit of a long shot, but they are still alive in the mix for the playoffs. They'll need to win out and get some help, but they still have a lot to play for. And the Raiders-Steelers is like an old-fashioned type rivalry game. I think it's a big game. The line there was 2.5, so I just decided to go with the money line. So we'll parlay Steelers money line with the under 36.5 in the Broncos-Rams game. That is a plus 225 play. That's going to be my best bet of the week. A nice little upset underdog type special in there as well.
My best bet of the week is Browns minus 2.5 versus the Saints. I think the Browns in the bad weather are just going to be able to run the ball all day against the Saints and control the clock, and that's it.
Yeah, the weather this week across the Midwest, it looks like on Saturday is going to be insanely cold in a bunch of those games. So the Browns have the same kind of game plan as last week, and especially with some of the results we've seen from the Saints defense and the Saints offense this year, that could be a really low-scoring game as well, like the under there too. Upset special time. I already talked about this game. I didn't really see any other ones that I like to upset with, so I'm going to go with the Patriots money line. They're at plus 140 right now. Come into this week as plus 3.5 dogs at home to the Bengals. I think the Bengals could be due for a little bit of a let-up. Hottest team in the NFL, 6 out of 7 and 8 out of 9, I believe they've won. And as I said, Patriots got lost in that embarrassing fashion last week. I think they're out to right their wrong this week, and they find a way to win at home. I believe I've hit 4 of these in a row, maybe even 5. So really feeling good and hot on these money line underdog specials.
My upset special is the Packers money line against the Dolphins. That's plus 64, and they're currently 3.5-point dogs. Rodgers is looking to run the table, get the Packers into the playoff, and I think he gets the step in the right direction here against an underwhelming Dolphins defense.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. I think that the Packers do have a chance to run the table and potentially sneak in the back door, and no one would want to play them if that's the case. And the Dolphins have kind of been faltering over these past few weeks. So, all right, well, that'll do it for NFL Big Five games of the week 16, the holiday weekend edition. Happy holidays to everyone out there who listens and follows the show. Appreciate it as always. Any last second comments, Kev, before we head out?
Yeah, just like you said, happy holidays, everyone, and go Birds on Christmas Eve.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Happy holidays. Enjoy your time with your family, and we will talk next week.